VOA News. VOA News. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
This is Mariupol. 3 years ago, the city of 500,000 people was devastated by Russian forces and is still under Russian occupation. Yevhen Tuzov lived in Mariupol before the war, where he was an athlete and a well-known public figure in the seaside city.
Mariupol used to be a beautiful city. Now there's just rubble left of it.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his government hasn't given up on Mariupol. In his New Year's address to the nation, he said, quote, "We don't give up what's ours, and we don't forget our people, those who are in captivity, and we will fight for every person who unfortunately is still there." Tuzov isn't in Mariupol anymore. He now lives about 300 kilometers northwest in Dnipro, but keeps in touch with the Ukrainians living under occupation. He says the Russians have already begun rebuilding Mariupol, and parts of the city are large construction sites. Locals' homes have been replaced by complexes with pricey apartments for sale. Several residents are feeling pushed out, as seen in videos posted on social media.
Our homes have been demolished, and in their place, apartments for sale are being built. For 3 years now, we have been renting places and live in dorms and shelters. There are dozens upon dozens of thousands of us. Houses on the left bank are a walkable distance from the sea. This is a lovely area that certain people clearly want to have to themselves, to build condos there and sell them. And we are going to end up on the streets.
Tuzov says a lot of Russian newcomers are buying up cheap real estate by the sea.
Because of Russians coming from, say, Moscow or St. Petersburg, the prices are insanely cheap. But please remember, it's very likely that your apartment's former owner is buried in your new home's yard.
Russian forces also occupied the city of Melitopol in the Zaporizhia region shortly after the invasion of Ukraine. Since then, locals have been living in constant fear, says former resident Olha Leontieva.
Those who stayed in occupation believed they would be quickly liberated. Now, when I talk to some of them, there is still hope and faith, but they are afraid to talk about it. They know many phones are bugged. They're so afraid.
Ukrainians in occupied cities have been forced to get Russian passports. Without them, people can't receive medical help or buy medications in pharmacies.
I know a woman, she's very sick, cancer survivor. She called me and cried. She said she had to get a Russian passport because doctors would refuse to help her.
Local schools are forcing the Russification of students to strip children of their Ukrainian identity, says Svetlana Van Bentham, a research officer and lawyer who specializes in armed conflict law at Oxford University.
We see that the education system is being used as a weapon against Ukrainian identity in occupied territories. There are books that are being destroyed and replaced with Russian ones. Teachers are being intimidated.
Despite all this, many Ukrainians are staying in the captured cities, hoping for an end to the fighting and the Russian occupation. For Katerina Besedina in Washington, Anna Rice, VOA News.
VOA News. VOA News. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.